The studio hummed with the familiar, electric buzz that always preceded a major interview night. Technicians hurried across the polished floor, adjusting camera angles, double-checking cables, and giving last-minute cues through headsets. The band played a bright, upbeat riff as the warm-up comedian ushered the audience into a louder frenzy. Everyone could feel it. Tonight's show was supposed to be big. Kevin Costner was in the building. Backstage, Kevin stood with calm composure, hands tucked into the pockets of his dark blazer as a crew member removed the last bits of lint from his shoulders. He wasn't nervous. He had done this more times than he could count, but there was a quiet heaviness in his demeanor. He'd been promoting his latest film for weeks, answering questions, traveling, smiling through long days. Exhaustion nipped at the edge of his patience, but he still carried himself with the effortless grace of a Hollywood veteran. He just hoped the interview would be straightforward and respectful. That was all he ever asked. The stage manager lifted a clipboard and gestured. "We're ready for you, Mr. Costner." Kevin nodded, took a slow breath, and stepped into the wings as Jimmy Kimmel began the introduction. "Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is an Oscar-winning actor, director, and star of the brand new film people everywhere are buzzing about, Kevin Costner." The crowd erupted in cheers. Kevin emerged with an easy smile, waving, giving appreciative nods, showing gratitude as he stepped into the spotlight. The applause felt warm, real. It helped soften the weariness he carried. Jimmy stood up, grinning as Kevin approached. "Kevin, great to have you." "Good to be here, Jimmy," Kevin replied, shaking his hand before taking a seat. They settled in, the cheers fading as the audience leaned in with eager anticipation. At first, everything seemed normal. Jimmy opened with light jokes about Kevin's ranch, about the long shoot days of his film, and even tossed in a playful remark about Kevin's cowboy boots. Kevin answered each question with charm, offering small, humorous stories that had the audience laughing comfortably. But then Jimmy's tone shifted. "So Kevin," he said, shuffling his cards with a smirk, "before we talk about your film, we have to address something. You've been in the headlines quite a bit lately." Kevin's smile thinned just slightly. "Headlines tend to exaggerate things, Jimmy." Jimmy clicked a button on his desk and the giant screen behind them lit up with a tabloid cover. It screamed, "Kevin Costner's turmoil, divorce, drama and millions at stake." The audience made a noise somewhere between amusement and intrigue. Kevin's jaw tightened. "Jimmy, really?" Jimmy shrugged, still wearing the grin of a late-night host who believed he was just doing his job. "Hey, I mean, everybody's talking about it. I figured we'd clear the air." Kevin shifted in his seat. "There's nothing to clear. That's personal business." "Come on, Kev," Jimmy pressed. "People want to know." Kevin stared at him, not angry yet, but undeniably irritated. People also don't need to know every detail of someone's life, especially when those details are half fiction. The audience fell quiet. The tension was subtle at first, but unmistakable. Kevin's voice stayed calm, but the steel beneath it began to show. Jimmy chuckled, trying to ease the atmosphere. All right, we'll leave the personal stuff alone. But what about this rumor?" He flipped to another card. "Rumor," Kevin repeated flatly. "Jimmy, I'm telling you right now, I didn't come here to play rumor roulette. I came to talk about my work. My film, the thing I've spent years of my life making." Jimmy leaned back, tilting his head as if surprised by the seriousness. "It's just part of the show, Kevin. We have fun here." "I'm all for fun," Kevin said, "but not at the expense of my privacy." The mood in the studio shifted again. Camera operators exchanged glances. Producers in the control room spoke over one another, unsure whether they should cut to commercial or let the moment ride out. The band, sensing the change, grew still. Jimmy attempted a light laugh. "Wow, okay, someone's a little sensitive tonight." Kevin froze. The audience murmured. That one word, sensitive, hit him like a match dropped into gasoline. For years, Kevin had endured assumptions, misquotes, online speculation, disrespect masked as journalism. And he had taken it with grace, always choosing restraint over confrontation. Not tonight. Kevin leaned forward, elbows on his knees, locking eyes with Jimmy. "Sensitive? No, Jimmy, I'm tired. I'm tired of people thinking my personal life is a carnival ride. Tired of people asking about everything except the work I put my soul into." Jimmy blinked, laughing awkwardly. "Hey, man, I'm just asking questions." "No," Kevin said quietly but firmly. "You're stirring the pot." Kevin didn't return when the show cut back from commercial, at least, not right away. The studio lights brightened, the band finished its brief riff, Jimmy put on his polished host smile, but the chair beside him remained empty. A slow, nervous laugh bubbled through the audience, the kind that came from disbelief rather than amusement. Jimmy tried to cover it with charm, leaning forward, hands steepled, looking into the camera as if the answer might be hiding inside the lens. "Well," he said, attempting a grin, "Kevin Costner is gathering his thoughts." Even the band chuckled nervously. Everyone knew what that meant. They were hoping he was coming back, but nobody actually knew if he was. Behind the curtain, the situation was far less composed. Kevin paced the narrow backstage hallway, shoulders tight, fingers digging into his palms as he tried to steady his breathing. He wasn't a man who ran hot, not normally. Decades of Hollywood had taught him to keep his cool even when the lights were brightest. But tonight felt different. Maybe it was the months of press fatigue. Maybe the endless questions about his divorce, his money, his movie delays. Or maybe it was just the final straw, being spoken over again and again, then mocked like he was some irritable old man who didn't understand how talk shows worked. He wasn't fragile. He wasn't confused. He was fed up. A producer hurried after him, her headset bouncing around her neck. Kevin, just give us 30 seconds, okay? Jimmy wants to smooth it over. We can reset, go lighter, steer into safer topics. We can even skip the game segment." Kevin stopped walking but didn't look at her. "This wasn't what we agreed on." "I know," she said carefully. "I know, and we'll address it. Just breathe." "I'm breathing," he muttered, though it didn't sound convincing. A stagehand poked his head around the corner. "We're live again. They're stalling." Kevin exhaled a long, strained breath, rubbing the back of his neck. His frustration wasn't rage, more of a deep, echoing disappointment, the kind that made a man question why he'd bothered leaving his ranch that morning. But beneath that exhaustion, another feeling simmered, resolve. If he was going to return, it wouldn't be with his head down. "Fine," he said at last. "I'll go back, but I'm not playing along with any more nonsense." When he stepped through the curtain, the audience erupted, not cheers exactly, but relief, like they were watching the next page of a story they couldn't look away from. Jimmy's eyes widened as Kevin took his seat, calm but firm, posture straight, hands folded in his lap. "Welcome back," Jimmy said lightly, but Kevin didn't return the friendly tone. "Let's finish this," Kevin replied, voice steady, not unkind but unyielding. Jimmy cleared his throat. "So, where were we?" "We were talking about your new film." "We were talking about respect," Kevin corrected. His voice wasn't loud, but it had weight, the kind that made the studio fall silent. "You asked me a question, I tried to answer, and you cut me off twice. That's not conversation, that's performance." Jimmy blinked, thrown. He wasn't used to guests pushing back, not directly, not like this. "Well, we do have a tight schedule," he offered weakly. "I've done television for 40 years, Kevin replied. "I understand timing, but I also understand when someone's more interested in a punchline than in listening." The audience sucked in a collective breath. Jimmy forced a smile that didn't quite land. "Kevin, come on, it's all in good fun." "Fun," Kevin repeated, though the word tasted dull. "If you invite someone onto your show to talk about their work, let them talk. If you want to make jokes at their expense, at least be honest about it." Jimmy sat back, absorbing the hit. He wasn't angry, more stunned, like a man who had slipped on ice and wasn't sure if anyone else had noticed. He tried again, softer this time. "I didn't mean any disrespect.